Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's topic feels very close to the heart. It's something many of us quietly struggle with, even if we don't say it out loud. Leo, I think this topic is a little uncomfortable, isn't it?
It really is, and maybe that's why it's so important. Today, we're talking about something many listeners might recognize immediately. You know English, so why are you silent? That question can hurt, but it can also open a door.
Exactly, because this isn't about grammar or vocabulary tests. It's about emotions, fear, confidence, and all those invisible walls we build inside our heads. If you've ever understood everything but said nothing, this episode is for you.
And if you've ever said, "I'll speak when I'm more ready," but years have passed, you're not alone. We've both been there, and today we're going to talk about it honestly.
Before we start, if this topic speaks to you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us reach more people like you.
And don't forget, there's a PDF with the full conversation, so you can read, review, and practice after listening.
All right, let's begin.
Sophie, let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever been in a situation where you understood everything in English, but your mouth just stayed closed?
Oh, yes, many times. I remember sitting in meetings, listening carefully, thinking, I know what I want to say, but my heart was beating so fast that I stayed silent. It felt safer to say nothing than to risk sounding wrong.
I can really relate to that. And what's interesting is that silence doesn't mean you don't know English. It often means you care too much about making a mistake.
That's so true. Many learners think silence means weakness, but actually, it often means pressure. There's this expression, to freeze up, which means your mind suddenly goes blank because of stress. That's exactly how it feels.
Yes, to freeze up is a perfect phrase. And another one I hear a lot is, I don't want to embarrass myself. That fear can be very strong, especially as adults.
Adults carry more fear than children. Children just try. Adults think too much. They think about accents, grammar, and how they sound. They forget that communication is the real goal.
Right. And sometimes people say, I understand English, but speaking is another story. That expression, another story, means a completely different and usually more difficult situation.
Exactly. Understanding feels safe because no one can see your mistakes. Speaking feels risky because it's public. Your voice is out there.
Let me share a small personal story. Years ago, I lived abroad. Every day, I ordered coffee in English, but always the same sentence. If the barista asked something new, I smiled and nodded, even when I wasn't sure. Inside, I was thinking, please don't ask me anything else.
That's such a real moment, and many listeners are smiling right now because they've done the same thing. It's like you prepare one sentence and hope life follows your script.
Exactly. And when it doesn't, panic appears. That's when people say, I lost my confidence. But confidence isn't something you lose forever. It comes back with action.
I agree. And there's another useful expression here, to play it safe. When you stay silent or use very simple sentences, you're playing it safe. It protects you, but it also stops you from growing.
That's a powerful point. Playing it safe feels comfortable now, but uncomfortable later, when years pass and you still don't speak.
And many adults between 20 and 40 feel this pressure deeply. They think, I should already be fluent. That word should is very heavy.
It really is. I should speak better. I should be confident. Those thoughts don't help. They just create more silence.
Let me ask you something, Leo. What do you think people are most afraid of when they stay silent?
Honestly, being judged, not being understood, and sounding stupid, even though that's a very harsh word to use for yourself.
Yes, and here's the truth many people need to hear. Making mistakes does not make you stupid. It makes you human. There's an expression to learn the hard way, meaning you learn through mistakes, not theory.
And speaking is exactly that. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to speak your way into it.
That sentence is so important. Confidence is built after action, not before. Waiting to feel ready often means waiting forever.
And silence slowly becomes a habit. At first, it's just fear. Later, it becomes your identity. I'm someone who doesn't speak.
But that identity can change, and today's conversation is about starting that change, gently and honestly.
If you're listening right now and thinking, this is me, I want you to know something. You are not broken. You are just holding yourself back.
And you don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to speak a little. One sentence, one moment of courage.
Because silence feels safe, but your voice deserves space.
Leo, when you said silence becomes an identity, that really stayed with me. I think many people slowly accept silence as who they are, not just something they do.
Yes, and that's the dangerous part. At first, silence is a reaction. Later, it becomes a habit, and habits feel normal, even when they hurt us. Permission to speak, right?
Exactly. Many adults wait for permission that never comes. They think someone will say, now you're good enough, you can speak. But that moment doesn't exist.
That reminds me of the expression, waiting for the perfect moment. It sounds smart, but usually it just means waiting forever. The perfect moment is a myth.
Yes, and another everyday expression fits here, to hold yourself back. It means you stop yourself, even when no one else is stopping you. Silence is often self-created.
I like that phrase because it puts the power back in your hands. If you're holding yourself back, you can also choose to let yourself go forward.
But that choice feels scary, especially for adults who already feel late. People in their 30s often tell me, I should have learned this earlier. That regret can be very heavy.
I hear that too, but regret doesn't help you speak today. And honestly, many people in their 20s feel the same pressure. They think everyone else is better than them.
That comparison is so harmful. Social media makes it worse. You see confident speakers, smooth accents, perfect sentences. You don't see their fear or practice.
Right. You only see the result, not the process. And speaking English is a process, not a talent.
Let's talk about mistakes for a moment, because silence is often just fear of mistakes wearing a nice coat.
That's a good way to say it. People say, I'm shy or I'm quiet, but inside they're thinking, what if I say something wrong?
And here's an important truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. Avoiding mistakes is the enemy. There's an expression, trial and error, which means learning by trying and failing.
Language lives in trial and error. Every sentence you speak teaches you something, even if it's not perfect.
I once said a sentence completely wrong in another language, and people laughed. It hurt for 5 seconds, but I never forgot the correct sentence after that.
That's learning the hard way again. And honestly, most people are kinder than we imagine. They are not waiting to judge you.
Yes, most people are busy thinking about themselves. That's another important realization.
Let me ask you something personal. Do you think silence is more emotional or more mental?
I think it starts emotional, but it becomes mental. Fear starts it. Then habits and beliefs continue it.
That makes sense. Beliefs like my accent is bad or people won't understand me.
Exactly. And those beliefs feel true even when they're not. There's a phrase to get stuck in your head. It means overthinking until you can't move.
Many silent English learners are stuck in their heads. They think instead of speak.
And speaking is a physical act. Your mouth, your voice, your breath. Thinking can't replace that.
I like to tell learners this. Your brain learns English by hearing you speak it. Silence teaches your brain nothing.
That's such a strong sentence. Silence feels safe, but it keeps you exactly where you are.
And another thing people don't talk about enough is energy. Speaking takes energy. Silence saves energy. When you're tired, silence feels easier.
Especially after work, after a long day, adults are exhausted. Speaking another language feels like extra work.
That's why people say, I'll practice later, but later rarely comes.
So the question becomes, how do you speak when you don't feel confident, when you're tired, when fear is loud?
You lower the pressure. You don't aim for perfect. You aim for real.
Yes, real sentences, real moments. Even saying, "Can you repeat that?" is speaking.
That's such an important point. Silence is not broken by long speeches. It's broken by small sounds.
And every small sound changes your identity a little. From "I'm silent" to "I'm learning."
If someone listening feels stuck right now, I want to say this clearly. Your silence is understandable, but it's not permanent.
And your voice doesn't need permission. It needs practice.
In the next part, I think we should talk about what actually helps people move from silence to speech, step by step.
Yes, real actions, real habits, no magic tricks.
Sophie, in the last part, we talked a lot about fear and habits. Now I want to talk about action, because many listeners are probably asking, okay, but what do I actually do?
That's the most important question. And I want to start by saying something very honest. Action does not mean big action. Most people fail because they aim too high at the beginning.
Yes, they think, I will speak fluently, and when they can't, they stop. That's why small steps matter so much.
Exactly. There's an expression to start small. It means beginning with something easy and realistic. Speaking one sentence a day is starting small, and it works.
I often tell people to choose low-risk speaking. That means speaking in situations where mistakes don't feel dangerous.
Like talking to myself.
Yes, and people laugh when they hear that, but it's powerful. When you talk to yourself, there is no judgment. Your mouth gets used to moving in English.
And another low-risk place is short messages. Voice messages, not long conversations. Just 30 seconds.
That connects to another useful expression, to build a habit. Habits grow with repetition, not intensity.
Right. Speaking English once a week for 1 hour is much harder than speaking for 5 minutes every day.
And when people say, I don't have time, I gently ask them, do you have 5 minutes? Most of the time, the answer is yes.
5 minutes is enough to break silence. Silence is fragile. Once you break it, it gets easier the next time.
But I think there's something even deeper than habits. Identity.
Yes, how you see yourself.
If you see yourself as someone who can't speak, every mistake feels like proof. But if you see yourself as someone who is practicing, mistakes feel normal.
That shift is huge. It's the difference between shame and learning.
There's an expression, to be hard on yourself. Many adult learners are extremely hard on themselves.
Too hard. They speak more kindly to strangers than to themselves.
And kindness matters. You would never tell a child, you're bad at English, stop talking. But adults say that to themselves.
That inner voice is powerful. Changing it takes time, but awareness is the first step.
Another practical thing that helps is preparing simple sentences. Not scripts, but tools.
Yes, sentences like, "let me think," or "can I try again?" These sentences give you time and control.
That's such an important point. Silence often happens because people feel rushed.
Exactly. When your brain feels rushed, it shuts down. Having time-buying sentences is like giving your brain air.
And here's another expression listeners should know. To put pressure on yourself. When you expect perfect English, you're putting pressure on yourself.
And pressure kills fluency. Comfort creates fluency.
Let's talk about accents for a moment, because silence and accent fear are closely connected.
Very closely. Many people think their accent makes them sound less intelligent, which is completely false.
An accent only means you learned another language. That's not a weakness. That's proof of effort.
I wish more people believed that. There's an expression, to be proud of. Your accent is something to be proud of, not to hide.
And most fluent speakers you admire have accents too. They just stopped apologizing for them.
That's a key sentence. Silence is often an apology you never needed to make.
Wow, that's powerful. Silence as an apology.
Because people think, "sorry for my English," before they even speak. That's so unfair to themselves.
Another thing that helps is choosing the right environment. Not every place is safe for learning.
Yes, some people only practice with people who correct every mistake. That can be exhausting.
You need spaces where communication matters more than correctness.
Exactly. Places where the goal is understanding, not perfection.
And when you do make a mistake, don't stop. That's another habit to build.
Stopping after a mistake trains silence. Continuing trains confidence.
There's an expression to keep going, even when it's uncomfortable.
Especially when it's uncomfortable. Growth lives there.
I want to say something directly to the listener now, if that's okay.
Please do.
If you are silent in English, it doesn't mean you are weak. It means you care. And caring is not a problem. It just needs direction.
That was beautiful. Caring plus action is powerful.
And action doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent.
In the next part, I think we should talk about emotional moments, those times when silence hurts the most.
Yes, missed chances, things you wanted to say but didn't.
Those moments stay with people for years.
And they can also become motivation, not regret.
Leo, when you mentioned missed chances, I felt that deeply. Silence hurts the most when you look back and think, I wish I had said something.
Yes, those moments stay very clear in our minds. A meeting where you had an idea, a conversation where you wanted to connect, a joke you understood but didn't say.
And later, when you're alone, the sentences come perfectly. That's the painful part.
Exactly. Silence often speaks later, when it's too late, and people carry that weight quietly.
I once met someone who said, I've been silent in English for 10 years. That sentence broke my heart.
Mine too, because 10 years of silence doesn't mean 10 years of no knowledge. It means 10 years of holding back.
And holding back slowly changes how you see yourself. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not a speaker.
That belief is very strong, but beliefs can change. There's an expression to turn things around. It means changing direction completely.
I love that phrase because it shows hope. Silence is not a dead end. It's just a direction you can change.
But first, you have to forgive yourself. That's something people don't talk about enough.
Yes, forgive yourself for the years you stayed silent. You were doing the best you could with the fear you had.
That forgiveness opens space. Without it, every new attempt feels heavy.
And then comes a very important question. What kind of English speaker do you want to be?
Not perfect, not native-like, just present.
Present is the key word. Being present means you speak even when your sentence isn't perfect.
There's an expression to show up. It means being there, trying, even when it's uncomfortable.
Showing up with your voice, that's powerful.
And once you start showing up, something interesting happens. People respond, they listen, they understand you more than you expect.
That moment surprises many learners. They think, oh, I was understood.
And that small success changes everything.
Because it replaces fear with evidence.
Exactly. Evidence that you can communicate.
I want to talk about one last emotional barrier. Shame.
That's a big one.
Shame says you're too old, or you should be better by now. It keeps people quiet.
And shame grows in silence. When you speak, shame loses power.
That's such an important sentence. Speaking is not just language practice. It's emotional healing.
You heal the part of yourself that felt invisible.
And you give yourself a new story. Not, I'm silent, but I'm brave enough to try.
Trying changes everything. There's an expression to take a risk. Speaking is a risk, but a small one.
And the reward is huge. Connection, confidence, freedom.
Freedom is the word I was thinking of. Silence is heavy. Speaking feels lighter.
Even when it's messy.
Especially when it's messy, because that means it's real.
I want listeners to imagine one future moment. Just one.
Okay.
A moment where someone asks you something in English, and you answer. Not perfectly, but honestly, and you don't apologize.
That moment is possible. Very possible.
And it starts with a decision. Not a big promise, just a quiet decision. I will not disappear today.
Wow, that's strong.
Because silence is disappearing, and your voice deserves space.
If you're listening right now and feeling emotional, that's okay. It means this matters to you.
And if it matters, it's not too late.
Never too late.
You already know English. Now let yourself use it.
Let mistakes happen. Let your accent live. Let your voice exist.
Not because you're perfect.
But because you're ready to be heard.
And that's enough.